This year, Venezuela celebrated its 205th Independence Day. President Nicolas Maduro referenced the country's current economic struggles against internal and external forces, which he asserts are trying to destabilize the country. He added that the military needed to grow in order to deal with any threat.
And from here I say to that predatory oligarchy, to Mr. Ramos Alup, do not meddle with the soldiers, do not meddle with the sergeants, do not meddle with the captains, mess with me, since I am the Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, coward, little coward Chief Ramos Alup.
The defense for Brazil's suspended president, Dilma Rousseff, are referring to the efforts to impeach her as an injustice. She maintains that there have been no illegalities, nor any negligence in the country's established financial rules. Her lawyer spoke on her behalf.
Destiny has always reserved great challenges for me. Some have seemed insurmountable, but I was able to defeat them. I've already suffered the incredible pain of torture, I surmounted the terrible pain of illness, and today I suffer the unspeakable pain of injustice. That which injures me the most at this moment is injustice. That which injures me the most is realizing that I am the victim of a judicial and political farce.
In Peru, a wave of cold weather continues to cause sickness and the loss of lives.
The freezing phenomenon in Peru has caused 7,500 cases of pneumonia and killed 48 children 5 years of age or younger in the last 2 months, according to the Ministry of Health. The majority of the casualties are from the center and south of the country, where the citizens live at heights over 13,000 feet above sea level, and temperatures have dropped to 18 below Celsius or 0 degrees Fahrenheit.
Because of the cold weather, I'm not feeling well. My head hurts and I don't have clothing. They have only brought me vitamins. We need grass for the animals. It is cold all day.
According to the Children's Health Institute, the cases of respiratory complications increased from 25 to 50% as a result of the cold wave. Impoverished individuals are the ones affected the most because they are not properly fed and live in precarious housing.
The larger the number of people living in one room, the more they can be contaminated. Also, if they are not well dressed in areas where there is intense cold weather, they are also predisposed to get infections. In addition, not having proper medical care also helps the infection become more dangerous.
The government has launched a campaign with medical models that provide vaccines against influenza and pneumonia in affected regions, where they also provide blankets and clothing. However, these measures have not stopped yet the deaths of those with fewer resources. Rafael Mora, teleSur's, Peru.
Students and teachers continue to speak out, demanding that education be made free for all. Free education was the promise of President Michelle Bachelet's campaign. She had committed to reaching 70% of enrollment at the end of her term and 100% by the year 2020.
We are back. Read a giant banner that covered part of the biology department's main building in the National University campus in Tegucigalpa, Honduras. The university was closed Monday and Tuesday after the National Police arrested 18 students last Friday. The students are part of the students' movement that occupied the main university campus for 25 days, demanding participation in university decisions and an end to a push toward privatization.
What was at stake today was the control of the university, if it was going to be controlled by the university president or the students. And I believe that this is very clear that the university is today in the hands of the organized students.
The university president and the Honduran justice system have charged 75 students with sedition and destruction of private property. They can't leave the country and have to appear regularly at police stations to sign in. They also aren't allowed to enter the campus or continue their studies. Once the doors of the university were opened this Wednesday, students began holding assemblies again, discussing how to put an end to the criminalization of other students.
There are formal accusations or detention orders on people, and I can't go to class knowing that my classmates can get arrested in any moment or may be victims of violence. This has happened before. In the 1980s, students were disappeared.
The Honduras University student movement isn't backing down, and if university's authorities don't begin to dialogue, the students say they could lose control. Or we could also see another crackdown by university officials and police, militarization, violence, and criminalization. That, however, would put in danger thousands of protesters that are just demanding that their voices be heard. Gerardo Torres, teleSur, Honduras.
The long-awaited Chilcot report has been released, detailing a 7-year-long investigation into the United Kingdom's role in the US-led invasion of Iraq in 2003. Documents revealed that former UK Prime Minister Tony Blair was unequivocally behind the then US President George W. Bush. Blair has been facing accusation of war crimes. Hundreds of people, including relatives of British soldiers who died during the Iraq War, protested against Tony Blair. The demonstrators called for him to face trial for war crimes. Responding to the report, Blair said that he accepted full responsibility for the decision to go to war in Iraq. The US Justice Department will lead an investigation into the fatal police shooting of a black man in Louisiana on Tuesday. This after hundreds of people took to the streets to protest the incident after mobile phone footage was seen online. Alton Sterling was killed outside a convenience store where he was selling CDs. Yemeni government forces, backed by a Saudi-led coalition, have recaptured a key military base in Aden. This after it was overrun by Islamic State group militants. According to officials, the assault began when 2 suicide bombers blew themselves up at checkpoints, killing at least 10 soldiers. The Syrian army said Wednesday it was observing a 72-hour ceasefire across the country, coinciding Eid al-Fitr, the festival marking the end of the Islamic holy month of Ramadan. US Secretary of State John Kerry hailed the ceasefire and said he was working with Russia and others to try to transform it into a lasting truce. A Spanish court has sentenced Lionel Messi and his father to 21 months in jail for tax fraud. However, a sentence of less than 2 years excludes the possibility of both actually spending time in prison. Messi has been fined over $2 million for defrauding money through a structure of companies in tax havens.